Yesterday it was revealed that policy changes by the government will lead to New Zealand missing our emissions reduction targets by 17 million tonnes. That's the equivalent of 25% of the entire country's emissions. Tonight we can reveal that it's actually much worse, with the Forestry Institute saying the figure is more likely to be double that. Investors were asked last year what they intended to plant this year, but only half the trees projected went into the ground. Laura Tupou reports.
There's more than 1 million seedlings growing here, but next year's orders aren't coming thick and fast.
They are unwilling to set a number. They are strongly indicating that next year's orders will be reduced on this year.
Around this time last year, investors were asked how many hectares they were planning on planting in 2024.
Since then, we've had an election, we've had changes in policy, we've had uncertainty put into them, but not only just the ETS market, but also into the ability to plant.
Which has put investors off.
A lot of plans have gone out the window.
But that hasn't been reflected in the emissions reduction plan released yesterday. It assumed 60,000 hectares of unforested land would be planted this year and 30,000 next year. But the Forestry Institute says in reality only 30,000 has been planted this year and 5,000 is projected for next year. If nurseries don't have certainty before the end of August, next year's numbers won't increase.
If we miss this opportunity right now, we've lost 12 months.
And that means less carbon is being offset, affecting the projection for emissions budget 3.
Whilst we're saying that in 2025 we're short 17 million units, unless something changes, we could be short over 30 million units.
Which is why they want certainty from the government about the future. In particular, who will be allowed to plant on the 15,000 hectares of new land the government is opening up to forestry each year.
Potentially, if they came out today or tomorrow and said, this is how it's going to work, then we can think about it and potentially get some more land planted next year. But I think it's still too little too late.
Well, Laura, is the government going to be able to provide them with that certainty?
No, James Treadwell there was hoping they might be able to come out over the next day or two. That's definitely not going to happen, Sam. This is currently under consultation for the next 6 weeks. And then after that time, ministers will go through all the feedback they've got from the forestry sector as well. And then they'll come up with their final plan at the end of the year. And that's when it will be known. And of course, that'll be too little too late for this industry. They can't sow the seeds this year to be planted next year. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what that means is that we're not going to be offsetting as much carbon as we thought we were going to be.
OK, Laura, thank you for that update.